Hello, it's Chris Bennett here. I'm here at Congressman Mark Takano's office, and I'm going to deliver some critical documents about some really terrible things that are happening in our country. In the last few days, I've been attempting to connect with Epstein Justice through Dr. Lois Lee with Children of the Night, who I met first almost 40 years ago when my father was a doctorate professor of medicine at UCLA for 35 years, and back then he was volunteering for them, for the organization. And I went through the training program and met Dr. Lee. So I've been communicating with her repeatedly over the last 10 years because I figured out a way to intervene in the school to homelessness, especially for children and teens. So school to homelessness, being trafficked, all kinds of things. So if you get to the heart of the matter, the people in Washington are not fixing the problem. They've been holding hearings for 30, 40 years, and I've been researching it. I've gotten my solutions to them over the last 20 years to 5 presidents. I met 2 of them, President Clinton and President Carter, hand-delivered. Also President Bush through Barr McClellan. His 2 sons were in the White House, one of them running the FDA, Dr. Mark McClellan, then Medicare and Medicaid, overseeing the entire foster care system, funding the malfeasance. Their own mother, Carol Keaton Strayhorn, wrote the Forgotten Children Report back then, submitted it to them, and in Texas that kids were getting over-medicated with lots of drugs. Over 10, up to 16. Getting multiple labels that mean nothing, because the true problem is that they're separated from their families and traumatized, and currently being traumatized in a broken, disgusting, despicable nightmare system. So I talked to Dr. Lee a week ago, and I said, I figured out a way to intervene. And she said, well, what's happening now is that when we identify kids that are being trafficked, the police put them in the foster care system because they don't have anywhere else to go. And that's better than what they're in. Well, no, it's not if you read the Forgotten Children Report from Carol Keaton Strayhorn. So Barr McClellan delivered my father's book, which essentially has the cure. It's a way to identify kids who are under stress when they go into the doctor or into the psychologist or when they're failing in school, so that they get care. But in the last 20 years of contacting VIPs, celebrities, and congresspeople and presidents, they have all slammed the door. So right in here it says symptoms of stress are difficulty concentrating and difficulty with memory. So that's what happened to Paris Hilton. She got kicked out of school around 1998 multiple times because she had been sexually assaulted. And nobody knew the signs. So if the entire medical system, the entire school system, the entire criminal justice system becomes aware that the symptoms of stress are failure in school, D's and F's. It could be from a broken family, it could be from bullying in school, it could be from your parents are fighting, it could be from your father was getting worked 20-hour shifts like my dad was in the medical system until he developed an anger problem, which is another symptom of stress, toxic stress overload. So everybody I know personally is flipping out with toxic stress overload and anger part of the time, and anxiety and fear. So there's a bunch of celebrities I put together on a chart. They're having the same experiences, and I'm creating a reality TV show for them. We're gonna have 10 celebrity best friend men and 10 celebrity best friend women going through a healing program that we create together with some of the top experts in the world on health. Okay, but here's what I'm trying to deliver. Okay, my bio right here. includes my long effort on this. Medicare fraud teams. Millions of seniors are taking 16 medications, and this is making them sick and bankrupting Medicare. Find it on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/newplanettech, TECH. So it says right here, Obama and Biden are in the video. And if we're spending $4 trillion back then, now 5 or 6, on sickness care, if we spend $1 trillion on healthy living solutions, then we'll create jobs in every single community in America. The biggest stimulus package you've ever seen in your entire life. Feeding all the kids that are hungry. Providing free mental health care to everybody. Creating jobs for veterans in every community. The boot camp cure with $1 trillion. Paying them more than they could ever earn in any other job, with just the qualification of having survived boot camp and been successful. So that's all in here, and I've been passing it out, and 10 of my partners have had major problems, multiple unexplained deaths. Okay, next thing I'm passing out. Millions of kids. This shows that ADHD and bipolar disorder have the same symptoms as PTSD and stress. The list of symptoms of stress in my dad's book, published in 1984. The list of symptoms from Hans Selye's book, The Stress of Life, published in the 1950s. He's the top expert of all time. So, I wrote to Dr. Bloom in 2008. Are you aware that a high percentage of mental illnesses are purely symptoms of stress, and that post-traumatic stress is routinely misdiagnosed as having a variety Post-traumatic stress is routinely misdiagnosed as a variety of mental disorders only because most psychiatrists, psychologists, and doctors are not sufficiently trained about post-traumatic stress disorder. Attached is a chart of mental illness symptoms from the DSM manual compared to symptoms of stress from a book by Hans Selye. The chart shows the symptoms are the same, so why do most experts on mental illness deny a role for stress or only admit it as being a factor, when in actuality it is the whole enchilada? The issue I'm motivated to address is that all across America there are children in violent families who develop these symptoms, then are misdiagnosed as bipolar, ADHD, ODD, etc., but stress is both not investigated and often overtly denied. As you know very well, there are people, including children, in violent circumstances, and help is not showing up. And it won't as long as doctors, psychologists, and psychiatrists are unable to see the connection between stressful life experiences and illness. That was April 2008, sent to Dr. Bloom. There has never been a national dialogue about this problem of misdiagnosis. I hope the attached chart can be helpful in clarifying the issues. So please consider joining my progress and offering your testimony to Congress on this matter. So she sent back email. My life work is focused on what you are talking about, so none of this is news to me, although I am glad that you are trying to do something about it. Important that you include the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. So he mentioned it, then Dr. Bruce Perry, I connected to him the same year, then I testified to the Texas State Senate in 2008. 15 or so years later, the Uvalde shooting, because they ignored me. 5 of them are still in office, including the current lieutenant governor, or the past one, Senator Nelson. Okay, so dropped all that off, my testimony off to Matthew McConaughey in Austin, Chuck Norris, because I went to school with his kids. Let me see, a bunch of them out there. Zachary Levi, delivered to his ranch. And but still don't know if I got through to anybody. So now's the time. Next thing I'm dropping off. Dear pilots and flight attendants, the recent crash of a Boeing MD-11 has spotlighted a critical safety issue in aviation. The video shows the jet was on fire on the runway. Fire or smoke occur each day somewhere in the world in commercial and private jets, according to the FAA. Most events are minor, but recently we have seen multiple serious incidents. So that was after the Swiss Air crash in 1998. Our Starlight was my next thing, the most important invention of all time. It can make homes fireproof and safe from fires, and jets. So we've had, since I've contacted this congressperson 2 years ago about everything I'm dropping out in person. I sent all this 2 years ago by email to all the staff. No responses. So since I sent the email about this, there's been multiple big crashes where the occupants seem to have burned to death. The NASCAR driver, Greg Biffle, and his whole family burned to death on camera. The autopsy said there was smoke. So, let's see, dear pilots and flight attendants. Okay, so we've been blocked. So, if we're getting on the market, long story in another video. But I'm dropping it off again in person. So, anyway, wish me luck. We're gonna see how it goes. All right. It's easy to ignore one person, Paris. You've gone to Congress twice in the past 3 years since trying to clean up the hellholes that kids and teens are in right now that you were in. You were there for 2 years. I have deep insight into that whole rotten system because they tried to infiltrate my family, but it didn't happen. So, it's a long story I told in another video. So, we'll get to that. But some of the Congress people you've met with and helped with the bill they wrote, which does nothing, they were involved in hearings in 2008 under Congressman George Miller. And Taylor Swift, you were right. Marsha Blackburn, she was there too. She voted against changing and the bill that started to fix the problem. Anyway, you're trying to work with criminals and you'll never get anywhere. I have 20 years experience, and together we can take a stand. A crowd can't be ignored. One person or a few can be ignored easily. Dr. Lois Lee, please don't work alone anymore. Pull together. There's a whole network there connected to your team with the Epstein justice. You know, Taylor Swift and all her friends. Taylor tried to stand up alone against domestic violence, to support the Domestic Violence Act, which does nothing. Doesn't provide free, universal mental health care for all the people that are abusing somebody. How would that be? Instead of little kids have to call the police and then their daddy gets arrested or whatever. Okay, not right. It's not working. We need radical changes. So UCLA, Professor Victor Naro has been looking at all my stuff for 2 years, but he's afraid to do it alone. He told me multiple times. So I need a crowd so he doesn't feel afraid. And then there's a massive new auditorium there at UCLA where we can have meetings. It was remodeled by Google. It's all empty. It was a big mall in Santa Monica. So get the whole world's attention right now.